Hey everyone, welcome to our new channel. It's appropriate that we make this video with all the JTR speakers, but welcome to Obsessed Home Theater. My name's Matt Moorman. I'm in what we call the Obsessed Home Theater Lab in Central Florida, here in the Villages, where we built this room for videos specifically like this. I don't know that this has ever happened before. Maybe it has in a few instances. I haven't been able to find anything available on YouTube where somebody got the lion's share of the JTR subwoofer line all in one spot. Jeff makes 9 different subwoofers. I have 7 of them here. One of them's off camera in a box. That's the 2400. I'm gonna actually take you to my home theater at home where I have 2 2400s set up. My intention here in this video is to just introduce you to the subwoofers, and then this will be part of a series where I'm going to make a video on the RS1, the RS2. I'm gonna make a dedicated video on the 2400 and 4000 ULF, the specialty ultra low frequency boxes like the sofa table and the low profile, and then I'm going to do a little bonus footage here on the RTJ subwoofer, which is the subwoofer that's made in a sealed enclosure where the amplifier would be rack mounted in a separate location, so the amp is not on board. But what we want to do here on this channel is dig into the details from our perspective. My good friend Michael Youthman Stevens, if you're not subscribed to his channel, make sure you go over there. Many of you probably come from there, so I appreciate you being here. What Michael and I are going to do is divide and conquer. Whenever I have something interesting to share, I'm going to dig in and share with you my thoughts. Whenever he has something or found some product that's interesting to share, he'll jump in and do it. Sometimes we'll come together when we have time to do it together. But the intention of this lab and this channel is to dig into the details from our perspective, not a product review, not a general specifications sharing channel. The idea here is that Obsessed Home Theater we're curating products, trying to get to the bottom of, what I'm trying to answer here with this subwoofer setup is which one would I buy? Which one would I recommend? Now, I have 2400s at my house, so that's the one I've chosen. But now that I get to see all of them, maybe my perspective will change. So today's video is to just give you a brief overview. I'm not going to do any playing or listening in this one. So if you want to hear stuff and see more stuff, make sure to check out each episode of the series. I intend to break it up into different groupings of subwoofers where it makes sense to me. So let's jump in and give you a quick tour of the subwoofers that I have here to show you. All right, the first sub to talk about here, just makes logical sense to me, is to start with the RS1. I actually have 4 of these RS1s in a near field setup, so they're butted up to the back of my couch in the Destination OG house up in Helen, Georgia. But this is a single 18-inch woofer, and just for perspective, I'm 6'2". Now I'm crouched down here, but I'm 6'2", 215 pounds or so. And this guy here, after being in this room, seems tiny. But I promise you take this and put it in your living room, it's going to feel substantial. It's a pretty stout subwoofer, and to put it into perspective, we're 21 inches wide. It's just shy of 18 inches, so it's about 17 3/4 deep. And then the height on this is, say, 21 and slightly over a half. So this subwoofer has a 2000 watt amplifier, sealed enclosure, just incredible sub. I think this, I don't know, I'm talking to Jeff about this specifically, but I think this is probably the best selling subwoofer. It's a little bigger than your average deal, from my old clips just back in the day and stuff like that. But it's reasonable. It's manageable. It's $3,699. Let me just kind of read off the specs for you. It'll play down to 16 hertz, and it says, he suggests up under 10 hertz in room performance. And I'm wrong, it's not a 2000 watt, it's a 2400 watt amplifier. Again, he has the spec 21 by 21 by 18. It's slightly off of that. So let me give you the exact dimension here. Let me get that. Yeah, it's 20 and 15/16 wide. It is 17 and 7/8 deep, and it is with the feet on it. Now this comes with feet. Now you can take the feet off, but it is 21 and 3/4 tall. So it's saying that height is 21, but again with the feet, it's 21 and 3/4, just shy of 21 and 3/4. So it's probably closer to 21 and 5/8 with the feet on it. It's rated at 117 pounds, and then you can only get it in this black paint. So you know these subwoofers are not for your interior designed beautiful living room. You want to build something around these. You want to put these in a darker, a dedicated room. I think you could get away if you had a really large family room, but generally speaking, these subwoofers you're going to put in some place where you just need it to be black, need it to be finished well, but you're not looking for pure aesthetics. The subwoofer has RCA and XLR. I'll show you the amplifier in a second here. They're all the same amplifier, very, very similar. And so the grill is magnetic. If you want to put a grill on it, you can. It comes with it. And the grill is pretty stout. It's a wooden framed, pretty nice fabric, and it won't rattle. It won't move. The magnets on this are a neodymium magnet that are, as you can see, is super duper stout. So if you want to take a look at the back here, remember this is 117 pounds. These are all constructed out of Baltic birch. Yeah. And you can see the amplifier on the back. You have XLR in, you have XLR loop, right? So if you're going to run them as a single subwoofer like the four that I have in the rear in a near field setup at the Helen House, I just have a single subwoofer run to one, and then I just sort of daisy chain them together with the XLR loop, which is fine. You have a few knobs that generally you're not going to mess with because you're going to do that in the software. Say the delay, the crossover, and then you have your low frequency adjustment. So you're generally going to play the subwoofer in its full range, but the subwoofer does have frequency crossover adjustments. But the way we set it up, the way I set it up every time, is I won't mess with the two crossover adjustments. We'll leave the delay off because we'll do any time alignment and adjustment in subwoofers, frequency timing, or the sound getting to you. We'll deal with that in Dirac or in room correction software. And so we're going to use our gain option here. Man, it was turned to max. So generally speaking, you're going to stay in the lower third of the range of power or gain, at the amplifier. You do have an on, auto, and off setting. And you do have the ability to do a 12-volt trigger as well. So I know that most Rusty would recommend, Michael would recommend. I generally just use signal sensing, but it would be more accurate. Subwoofers will turn on quicker. Be sure that they're on all the time if you run a 12-volt trigger. I haven't had any problem with the signal sensing. The signal sensing of the JTR amplifiers is pretty good. But this pancake here amplifier, it gives us 2,400 watts of power. I forget the amperage draw. What Jeff says. So it's rated at 4 amps, right? And so, if you have a 15 amp and you have a single subwoofer, so I think you can be okay. I have a dedicated circuit for mine, and my two amplifiers, all the equipment I was running, I found myself, I was hitting headroom issues where my breaker wasn't tripping, but my main amplifier, like my left, center, right amplifier, was going into protection. So these will draw 4 amps. If you have 2 of them, you know, you're talking about 8 amps of draw. So you want to keep mindful of that. That even on a dedicated 20, you know, I like to have a dedicated 20 per pair of subs, or in this case per, you know, up to 4 of them. But I want to keep that clean and not put a bunch of other stuff on it. So that's the RS1. The RS2 we have sitting right next to it here. I think bang for the buck, this is pretty sweet. So the RS2 is, let's just read off the specs here and let's get you a real world dimension. RS2s don't come with feet on them, by the way, because it could be mounted horizontally or vertically, so he doesn't ship them with feet. So you may want to consider that when you're ordering these. So it's 220 pounds, 4,000 watt, you know, Class D DSP optimized amplifier. So 2 woofers, not quite double the power. And so theoretically, I think you'd get a little more output if you had 2 RS1s versus a single RS2 having an additional, you know, 400 watts per channel or 400 watts per driver. But this one is 40 inches tall, 21 inches wide, 18 inches deep. So if we're comparing, the depth is the same, and it's not quite double the height. So the depth and width are the same. Let's confirm that with our goofy sonic tape measure. I should probably get obsessed about tape measures here. Yeah, it's right at 21 on the dot. So that's correct. Our depth right at 18 on the dot. And then again, there are no feet on this right now. So we are solidly right at 40 inches. So this one here is true to size. Whereas, well, you know what? I think my tape measure, tell you what, yeah, that's 21. It is a little shy of 18, which is good. So it is true to width. I don't know. I think this this tab here is a little wobbly. And so if you wanted a grill, it does come with the grill. Same basic idea here, where you have a neodymium magnet, where the thing is really stout. I mean, it's fun. It's interesting. It comes off once it separates from the magnet really easily, but it is on there because these have X max of over 3 inches. You know, so this, you know, you can see the rubber surround, the solidness of the driver. If I took one of these out, maybe I'll try to pull a little bit of footage. We had taken these out. I don't want to take it out because it's really hard to put back in because they're so freaking heavy to get it to line up. But these guys are, you know, the magnets are freaking big, giant honking magnets. So this one is rated at 220 pounds. I should mention that all of these enclosures are made of Baltic birch. You can see it has like a beveled, rounded edge or routed edge. So, you know, the fit and finish of these are very, you know, DJ speaker looking. But I actually really like the rhino lined type textured finish. It's, you know, and then the combination of the heavy duty Baltic birch. You know, you have, you know, I believe are these all 3/4 ply? I think it's 18 millimeter, 13 ply. So, what is 18 millimeters? And 18 divided by 2.54. So it's 18 divided by 25.4. Yeah, it's just shy of 3/4. It's 0.71 inches thick. But this, you can hear the solidness of this sucker. And so if you look at the 4,000 watt amplifier on the back, same control. So if we come down here and take a peek, let's get in a little tighter. So the amplifier looks the same, but this one is rated at 8 amps, right? So essentially it's double the output. Same exact control. You have delay on the bottom, crossover, low frequency adjust. You're going to leave those to wide open generally, and then you're going to adjust your gain. I have noticed that all of them brand new out of the box are set to max gain, so make sure you don't blow the darn room apart. You have your RCA in, your XLR in, your XLR loop. RCA has, the RCA doesn't have a loop, right? So it's left and right RCA, so stereo in or LFE in on the left input, and then you have your remote trigger. I should mention there is power on off, and then they come with a pretty stout power cord as well. So each of the subwoofers come with a 6.5 foot power cord. But this subwoofer, man, I mean, I don't know how to explain to you how stout. I mean, it's 220 pounds. It's just, it's a solid piece of equipment here. So this is the $5,600. So I believe $56.99 if I remember correctly. Sorry, $53.99 for the single RS2. So next subwoofer to talk about, this is the same one that I have at my house. So since I already have two of these open, I don't want to open up this sucker. But Captivator 2400, let me just read off the specs so we can have it all in one spot. I'll make a dedicated video on this. But the 2400 is a ported subwoofer. So the RS1, RS2s are, you know, both very capable. The RS2 is rated to play down to 16 hertz as well. When you get to the ported subs, this one is rated to play down to 12. It's 2400 watt RMS. This is taller because it is ported. The speaker is 30 inches tall. It's a little less wide. It's 20 inches wide, but 22.5 inches deep. So deeper than the RS1, RS2, a little bit narrower. The reason why I chose the 2400, one, I wanted a ported sub, but I didn't want to go to the full enclosure size of the ULF, the ultra low frequency version. I wanted the slightly better potential of the lower frequency response, and then I needed that width because I was going to put it recessed in the wall. Turned out it didn't work out that well, but these suckers are 148 pounds a piece. All of these subwoofers will ship freight with the exception of the RS1. The RS1 can go ground, so getting them to you is a lot cheaper if we went with the ground option. Same amplifier, 2400 watt as the RS1. So stay tuned. I'll do a dedicated video on the 2400, the Captivator 2400. I think it's a underrated choice in the line. Most people buy the RS1, RS2, or one of the ULFs. I chose this one because, what I told you, because of the width, and I'm actually really pleased. I think it might be my favorite subwoofer in the line. We're going to hopefully answer that through this series when I listen to all the subwoofers and dig into them a little bit deeper. Okay, next up, this is the first sub in the ultra low frequency line. This is the 2400 ULF. Now, I'm sad because I don't have the 4000 ULF. We have one coming. I didn't want to wait to make this video for you. Plus, these subwoofers are taking up a lot of space, so I want to get these sold and get these this video series done for you. But this version is $4,200. It is ported. The 2400 ULF is taller, so the enclosure is bigger. Now it's rated at the same 12 hertz. I'd be interested, the larger enclosure, the larger ported enclosure, theoretically is going to give you a little better, I guess, in-room response, but Jeff has it rated at the same, roughly 10 hertz in-room response. My wager is that we're going to get down to lower single digits with the ULF version, but this one has the same basic specs as the 2400, other than the cabinet is taller. So it's 11 inches taller. It's a ½ an inch wider and the same depth. So essentially the same speaker, it's the same woofer, it's the same amplifier. I don't know about the crossover, if the crossover is any different. I would assume it'd be the same crossover network. And so the amplifier, everything looks the same 18 millimeter Baltic birch. It weighs 165 pounds because of the the larger enclosure. But my gut tells me that in most cases you're going to choose the 2400 versus the Captivator 2400 versus the ULF. I mean, notice the woofer, the driver, the rubber surround, everything else is the same. I'll clarify that with Jeff. I'll have him come to these videos and go in the comments if you have questions about stuff that's very, very detailed. I mainly wanted to show you scale, size and scale. If I stand up straight, this is a pretty stout subwoofer. It's only an inch off of the RS2 size. So, I'd be inclined to consider, if I'm going to go to this, why don't I just do an RS2? Let me just put these guys right next to each other. Now, cost is different because it's a single. It's $4,200, so it's it's less money than an RS2. But notice the enclosure is quite a bit more space, right? So I'm deeper. I'm about the same width. Let's see. This one is 20 and a half wide, so it's a little narrower. The RS2 was 21 wide, so it's about a ½ inch narrower. Let's just confirm that. Make sure this one's true to size as well. Yeah, just shy of 20 and a half. And then this one was right at 21. And then you're at, just shy of 22 and a half, right at the edge of that. So that's a pretty interesting perspective there, I think, on the two subwoofers. Let me handhold the camera here and show you what this looks like. I don't know that you'd really be considering these two together. Not sure why you would buy the 2400 ULF over the RS2. I mean, you're talking, pretty significant price difference, but that's where the size difference comes in with the ULF. Now, I wish I had the 4000 ULF here for you. Let me just check the dimensions of that. Now, I had a 4000 ULF very early on when he first launched it, or pretty close to that, years and years ago. I had to put that in my Woodgate house, for those of you who've been following me for a long time. But the 4000 ULF size-wise is 41 by 20 and a half by 39. So the dual version is an inch taller than this, right? So it's slightly taller, but it is .22. So let's say 22 and a half to 39 and a half. So what is that? It's 17 inches deeper. And so if you turn it sideways, it's 20 and a half deep. So you could kind of turn it in, toward the center, I guess, of the room if you put them in the corners. But the 4000 ULF is 265 pounds. It's rated, that big giant enclosure gets you a rating of 10.5 hertz. 10.5 to 125 hertz. So, man, I just remember that subwoofer just liquefying my life, and I only had one of them. By the way, I'm always going to recommend, if you have the option, go down in size and get multiple subwoofers. You have a better chance of getting, proper dispersion or having less dead spots in the room. All right, let's talk about the big boys. So you have the base 4000 ULF, and then you get into the specialties. So we have two of them here. This one is the low profile. It does come with a grill, so if you did want to cover this up, same grill as the others, where it just covers the subwoofer. It doesn't cover the whole face though, in case you're wondering. So this low profile version gets us less depth. So this is designed to get you the 4000 ULF, so it gets you the frequency response. This is $5,800, by the way, but gets you the same sound signature, same 10.5 hertz playback that you would get from the 4000 ULF. It has the 4000 watt amplifier, but this basically just gives you the same volume. It's 41 but 20.5 inches deep and 39.5 inches wide, right? So instead of being 39.5 inches deep and 20 inches wide, it's the opposite. So it gets you the same amount of airspace. Obviously, this is a ported enclosure as well. Same amplifier, the 8 amp, the 4,000 watt RMS amplifier, same drivers, but in a different, larger enclosure. And it costs a little bit more because you got a little bit more wood, but it's $5,800. And then they make a tall version. The tall version, I think, of the specialty 4000s, I think this makes the most sense. The tall version is 58.5 inches tall. So it's similar in height to, let's see here, I got my tape measure. These are the 212 RTs here, or 212 RMs. So the tall version is 58. These are 58 3/4. So picture this height and a bit wider. So it's 20.5 inches wide and 28 inches deep. This is only 14 inches wide. So it's, what did I say, 20.5. So it's out here. So the width would be out here, and then it's another 12 inches deep. So it's a wider, deeper, but similar height here to what you're looking at. And so in certain instances where you don't have the footprint, but you have infinite space height-wise, or you had a transparent screen, you can get the ULF series in different form factors. That one is $5,800 as well. And then you have the unique guy over here that we've been using as our centerpiece of the room. It's $58.99. And they're all about 265 pounds, by the way. But this one is 28 by 58 by 20.5, and that's the sofa table. This guy here that's in the way of where the other subwoofers are in the way. So same 4,000 watt amplifier. You have dual ports, and just look at this sucker and I sit on this thing. So this one is really, Jeff designed it to be, you'd put it behind your couch, behind your seating location. I mean, you could put it anywhere. You could stand it up. I don't think it would make sense. It's designed to sit down like this. If you were going to stand it up, you'd be better off buying the tall. But this sucker is, 58 inches wide. I have noticed that they're when you're really hammering on these suckers, and if you put something on top of it, it will move slightly. So you're going to want to put something to decouple. At my 2400s at home, I have my 210 towers on top of them. I just have them flipped upside down, inverted. And so I'm putting some isoacoustics, I forget what they're called, Orbea or Orea or something like that, little pucks to decouple it so it doesn't bounce around like the speakers have been kind of shifting a little bit, and I've been worried I don't want them to fall off on the floor. They don't like wobble, but there is a little bit. I can notice that the speaker will walk a little bit over time. And then the last subwoofer here is the RTJ subwoofer. So to bring you up to speed, Jeff had created a dealer-only line. And so this is part of that, called RTJ. I need to talk to him about this. This one's priced at $8,000. So this is essentially the same amplifier that you've seen on the back of the subwoofers, just in a rack-mounted enclosure. So when you take the amplifier out of the box, we shed some of the size. So the RTJ, this is listed at $8,000, which I think is. I'm going to talk to him about that. So this is 15 inches deep. It is 23, so it's a little bit taller, 23 1/4 tall, and then our width is probably the same, 21. Width is 22-ish, 22 1/4, 22 1/2, roughly. And so this one does have a full carbon fiber, whatever you call this, cone, where the others only have the carbon fiber dust cap. So I'm not sure, I have to talk to Jeff about this. I'm not sure about the the construction. I don't know if the spider and the basket and the magnet, if they're different on this particular woofer. The other thing to note on the RTJ, that it's not the foam surround does protrude a little bit, where on all the other JTR subwoofers, if you take a look at the RS1 has no protrusion. Let me see. Yeah, this does seem to stick out a little bit more. Let's see here. So if I take this, there's a little bit. Yeah. So the foam surround seems to be a little bit different. And this one doesn't come with a grill, right? So there's no grill, and I don't believe there's a grill option for this. I guess I'm making that up. They're both, there's a little bit of poke. Just looked a little bit of an optical illusion. But if we take a look at the amplifier, it's the same setup. With the difference, this 2400 watt amp is set up with multiple outputs, so you could run, and these are all dual voice coil subwoofers, so I'm pretty sure, so you would run a pair of speaker wire to it, and I think you would wire them in parallel. I think they're probably 4 ohm or maybe 2 ohm design. I've talked to Jeff about that, but the same adjustments, delay, you have crossover, low frequency adjust, and then you have your gain option as well. And interesting, this one is set factory to minimum. The others are set to maximum. Not sure why that is. And we have a remote trigger, and we have our XLR 2 inputs, but no jumper for XLR. So you'd have to run separate, either Y adapters or run dedicated to each. So this RTJ sub also has, if you'll notice on top here, has the ability for you to stack them. So I don't know if this one has feet on it. Yeah. So the feet that come, you can stack these. These are also designed to be set up in a 2-channel array, where you'd have the middle speaker, or you have your tower sort of sitting on top of the subwoofer. So that's what these are designed to do. Rusty's actually going to put these in his home theater because they're narrower, so not as deep as the RS1. All right, so that's the JTR line. Make sure you go dig into the series. I'm going to go through each one of these in a little bit more detail. But these guys, man, it's incredible to have them all in one spot. It feels a bit surreal. But in the follow-up videos, I'm going to go and I'm going to play them. I'm going to try to find some copyright-free music and play it, give you my impressions of each one. And I don't like to play music in videos, but because you're going to listen to it on your headphones or on your TV speakers. But if you're in the market for JTR subwoofers, it's hard to explain. Like, I've had REL, I've had, SVS. I've had dozens of different subwoofers in my life. These are the ones that I'm currently choosing. They're not the prettiest, but they are the performiest. They perform the most, perform like no other subwoofer I've ever experienced. With the exception of maybe the Perlisten stuff that we also have chosen to offer because of my love affair with the two of them. So JTR, the subwoofers in general, are I think what we've all been looking for. The only question I have is, can your house handle them? Can your house handle 6 hertz? Can your foundation withstand it? Because when you get these subwoofers, to me, it's not all about amplitude. It's about the, just the quality, the character you're going to get from them. So if you can deal with the fact that they're very utilitarian looking and they are, built to order, if you can get away from some of the lead times and deal with the fact that sometimes you got to order them ahead of schedule. It's I think these are the subwoofers of choice. So hit me up. You can always hit me up, Matt at obsessedgarage.com, if you want some advice on it. I'm one of the few people that have had the opportunity to experience these all in the same room. If you don't need any help, if this answered the question, we'd love it if you'd go and buy it from us. It helps us out a lot. Go to obsessedhometheater.com. I'll put a link in the description. And if you need some advice, just shoot us an email, and I'll get you the right person to either I'll answer it for you, or get you with Michael, or get you down here. Come stay in the villages. You can come over here, and we can open up a box if we had to, so you can listen to it. But man, getting 2 of any of these subwoofers in your system, if you had the room, 4 of them, is life-changing. It's incredible. So anyway, make sure to check out the rest of the series, and I'll see you on the next video.